Good morning, good morning, good morning. So excited to have you here with me today and to get this new series of FLR, FemDom, and Women in Charge discussions, presentations started for you. Now, this is the first of a number of topics that I am going to be presenting over the next few weeks and possibly through all of 2023. So, super excited to have you. Um, Hello, Star One. Good to see you. And super excited to share this part of my life and interests with you. Um, I'd also like to give a shout out to my partner. Um, it's his birthday today. So super thrilled to be able to do this in his honor and to say, happy birthday, pet. I love you. And here's to another decade. So, hello there. I see a user from Facebook. I don't have a name for you. I'll post information about how to access adding your name in if you would like to at some point in the future, but I will pass along your birthday greetings. Thank you so much for that. And I'd like to share something with you. Let's see. Okay, so let's get started. I had this really cool video that I wanted to share with you, but it didn't finish processing before, so you'll have to tune in next week to see the fantastic, super duper introduction. But that said, hi. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Heather, also known as Nookie or Miss Nookie, if you prefer a honorific. I am a hedonistic, dominant cuckoldress pimptress who is polyamorous and monoromantic. I actually live a woman in charge life with my partner of nearly 10 years. And it's full of love, sex, passion, and exploration. I write books, teach workshops, and offer coaching for better love, sex, romance, and kink for people of all genders, relationship statuses, um, orientations, and more. And I am excited to be talking with you today about the art of confident dominance. And in order to talk about confident dominance, I feel like I should start out by defining dominance for you, right? Because if we're going to talk about confident dominance, it will help to define what dominance is first. And for those of you who have been following me for a long time, you know this is my thing. Like, I love to define words so that when I use them, you know what I'm talking about. So, dominance, power and influence over others. So, when we talk about being a dominant in the lifestyle, what do we mean? Right? We mean having power and influence over other people or over another person. When we talk about being a dominant person, we talk about being able to exert that power and influence over people in our day-to-day life through force of personality, through leadership skills, whatever. So, quick question, and just a note, I always welcome questions and engagement from the chat. I know it's early, it's 7:00 in the morning, so on the East Coast. So wherever you are, I know that a lot of people tune in and they just listen with their headsets as they're going along with their day. Maybe you're getting ready for work or whatever. But if you have the opportunity to type into the chat, I follow along. I'm happy to answer them. But here's a question for you as we start to move along. What does dominance mean to you? What does it mean to you in the context of an FLR, FemDom, or woman in charge dynamic, right? What does dominance mean to you in your life? How do you exert dominance? And when I say how do you exert dominance, I'm talking not only to the dominant women, but also to those who identify maybe as switches or submissives, or those who are just curious. Because while somebody might identify as a dominant or a submissive, dominance in day-to-day life are two different things. And so is confidence. And since today we're talking about the art of confident dominance, let's, of course, talk about what confidence is, right? Confident, adjective, feeling or showing confidence in oneself, self-assured. Confidence, noun, the feeling or belief that one can rely on someone or something, a firm trust. Note, confidence does not mean that you think you're the greatest thing to ever walk the earth, right? It doesn't mean that you're always right, even if you are. It doesn't mean that you won't fudge everything up sometimes, or that you can't act a bit silly, or that you must always know the answers, right? Confidence means that you know that you can rely on yourself, and in the case of these women in charge relationships, that you as a dominant will be there for others to rely on. That's it. That is confident dominance, right? And just a quick message, please, if you enjoy content like this, if you are looking for more content about FLR, FemDom, and women in charge, if you like me and you would love to help me out, don't forget to like this video and share it wherever you find me. It's a huge, huge help and honor for me to have people recommend me to their friends and FemDom, women in charge groups and pages online. So thank you very much for that, and for your support in that particular thing. So I'd like to tell you a story. My mother told me I could be anything I wanted to be. Anything. And because I've always been adventurous and I'm a bit of a sensation slut, I thought I wanted to be a switch because I like toppy things. I like bottomy things. I love it all. That's where the hedonist in hedonistic in my description comes from. Actually, I'm more of an Epicurean, but more on that later. So I thought I was a switch, and I was wrong. And so is my mother. My mother got it wrong. I could not be anything I wanted to be. I can be many things I want to be, but what I could not be is I could not be submissive. I did try. I fell in love with a dominant man once. That didn't work out. So I found, as I was going through my early years, my relationships were often power struggles, because as a switch, or as a submissive, or even as an equal, I felt like I knew how things should work. And I didn't hesitate to say so. And so we were constantly struggling for power together, and it sucked, like really, really bad. And I'm sure you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. A lot of relationships are control or be controlled. And I don't even like the word control, especially not in a power exchange dynamic. Control or be controlled. It sucked, and I grew. And I'd like to share with you today the three key influences that it took for me to finally get confident dominance. The first two are dog training and pickup artists. Yeah, pickup artists. Now, I'll tell you, I get a bit of flack for bringing up dog training. I spent 22 years as an enthusiastic amateur dog trainer. I tested in CDC, agility. I competed in agility and rally and obedience. I took my dogs to shows, and I did rescue and rehab for 8 years. Here's the thing, though, like, people don't like to be compared to dogs, which I don't get. Dogs are amazing, amazing, so full of love and loyalty and a zest for life. Honestly, if I actually ever compare someone, like an individual, to a dog, I feel like that's a compliment, because I have had amazing doggy four-legged love stories in my life. Like, the dogs that I've had in my life, even the ones who have just come through, every single one has taught me something. And I can't say that about every human. So I've been joking with my partner that one of these days he's going to come back from one of his camping trips out with the guys, and there's going to be a puppy in the house because I miss having a dog. And a couple of weeks ago, my partner said, you know what? I think maybe I'm kind of getting close to possibly sort of, wanting to consider thinking about getting a dog. And I immediately pounced on that, right? Ooh, really? Because my partner has been traumatized. He got a dog in his early adulthood. It did not work well. Hello, Sunshine Boy. Good to see you. Never a problem for being late. It did not work well for him. He ended up rehoming the dog and felt like, ooh, that was a failure, right? So I pulled out because my partner, mentioned this potential tiny itty bitty sort of kind of interest. I pulled out some content that I used to, that I had created back in 2007 when I used to be the educator for our national dog breed club. And I shared some of that with him, the PDFs that I had created. And one of the PDFs was part of a 6-week Perfect Puppy series that I had put together for this dog breed club. And these were about bonding exercises. And as I was reading it, I started giggling to myself. And I'd like to share with you the opening to this dog training booklet series that I put together, because this sums up a good portion of what I learned from training dogs to become a confident dominant. Let me be clear before we begin. Many people will call what I'm about to teach you submission exercises. And they are. Not in the sense that there's a danger of your new puppy taking over your household and becoming the pack leader, although there is, but in the sense that a few moments each day will teach your puppy that doing what you ask is not a question and can actually be pleasant. You see, submission is not just about dominance, but about teaching your puppy to trust you. Trust is what will make your puppy your best friend for the rest of its life. Now, I would like to share with you that But let's turn it around. Let's change this a little bit, right? So let me be clear before we begin. Many people will call what I'm about to teach you dominance exercises, and they are. Not in the sense that there's a danger of your submissive taking over your household and becoming the de facto leader, although there is, but in the sense that a few intentional moments each day will show your submissive that doing what you ask is not a question and can actually be pleasant and sexy. You see, dominance is not just about submission, but about your submissive being able to trust you. Trust is what will make your submissive your best partner for the rest of your relationship. Yeah, right? How's that hit you? Pretty exciting, huh? Like when you really pause to think about it, what kind of bond you can create with your submissive, or as a submissive, what kind of bond you can hope to expect from your dominant. It gives me chills. Oh, absolutely, 100%. Okay, so the dog training. And then, of course, there are the pickup artists. So around that same time, 2007 or so, I found myself researching pickup artists online and joining the communities and attending events and learning more about how pickup artists do their thing. The psychology of it all was fascinating to me. And so I joined communities and I became a part of forums, and I found some really amazing information there. And it wasn't even so much from the pickup artists themselves, but a culture of men who formed around the pickup artists. Men who wanted more, men who wanted to develop their confident dominance to create deep, meaningful, and powerfully sexual, intense, passionate relationships. They wanted more. And I became a part of that community. And I learned from men who were doing this in their lives. And I learned from the women in that community who were looking for men like this in their lives. In fact, what was a bit ironic is in that community, the belief is that women are sexually submissive, which turns out not so much. So I'm actually an anomaly on there, and I still pop in from time to time. And I am sort of the, hey, men, if I can do this as a woman, as a dominant who is confident and succeeding in her life, you can too. Here's my perspective. And then there was the last key for me. And that was realizing that I only had to choose to be a confident dominant and to act as if I were in every situation to actually be one. That's it. It was like those bracelets. What would Jesus do? WWJD? For me, it was more like WWACD&D. What would a confident, dominant nookie do? And when I had the answer, I did it. Real quick, before I move on, I'd like to tell you a bit about our Plus membership. It's at getplus, GETPLUS www.datingkinky.com. If you love this content and you want more education on love, sex, romance, kink, and of course, FLR, FemDom, and women in charge dynamics, there is no better offer for you than Plus. Join Plus, and you'll get access not only to my books, FLR, FemDom, and Women in Charge, and because I said so, a collection of sexy, thoughtful, and loving women in charge writings, parts 1 and 2. You'll also get over 40 hours of amazing women in charge presentations taught by confident, dominant women from around the world, like financial freedom to ultimate sexual freedom, a discussion of women-centric non-monogamy, practical chastity for people with penises, creating contracts for MS or DS relationships, red flag submissives, and more. For only $9.99 a month, $49.99 for 6 months, or $74.99 for a year, you'll get access to all of that and over 300 hours of additional content on power exchange, relationships, communication, rope skills, navigating the kink scene, mental health in kink, and so much more. And if you're not yet ready, although you really, really ought to try this out, don't forget to like, love, or subscribe to this channel wherever you're finding me so you don't miss a single live. Yes, exactly. Confident dominance, especially in FLR dynamics, is key because generally speaking, in our culture, femmes are not socialized to be dominant and to hold our dominance in a confident fashion, right? So let's go back to what I was saying. The last key that it took to click everything into place for me was realizing that I only had to choose to be a confident dominant and to act as if I were in every situation. That's it. And when I had that answer, I did it. Sound simple? It is. I mean, it only took years and years and years of learning dog training and being a confident dog trainer and learning from other people who were also going through the same path and learning from the people in my life and struggling in my relationships and learning to communicate and learning who I was and who I wanted to be. But it is simple, right? And for those of you who follow me, you know what I'm about to say here. Simple is not easy. In this case, it's not at all easy, right? I still farkle things way up regularly. I'm a human. Not as regularly as I used to. And I'm much better at taking ownership of all of my oopsies and making them right than I used to be. And by being more intentional, by choosing the path of a confident dominant, just as I chose to be a trainer and a pack leader that my dogs could rely on, I actually gained confidence. And I proved I could do it by doing it. And when I didn't do it, when I stumbled or fell flat on my face, I still became more confident by owning it, by taking responsibility, by showing myself and others, but myself was the important part, that I could be relied on to do the right thing, even when it sucked. Funny story. A few years back, oh gosh, this is more than a few years back. It's probably a decade back by now. A friend of mine who was a switch called me up one day, and he'd been submissive for several years to his partner, and they had broken up, and he had just recently gotten a submissive kitty for himself. Kitty being identified as a kitty. Beautiful, beautiful woman. And they were having some challenges. And he called me up and he says, Nookie, what is this dominance thing? I'm not sure I like it. And I said to him, and this is not entirely true, but it holds truth. I said to him, being a dominant means having the tough conversations even when they suck. Being a dominant means taking ownership and responsibility even when it sucks, because taking that ownership, taking that responsibility, knowing that you can rely on yourself, right? Because when you don't take that ownership, when you don't take that responsibility, you're relying on others to do the right thing. When you own it, it's all about you. And that is where confidence grows. And so confidence became something that grew in me every moment of every day. Every single time I completed something by doing the right thing, my confidence grew. And I started to look for the right thing to do in every situation, even when the right thing to do was not what I wanted to do. It became, for me, more important to want to do the right thing rather than the thing that might give me pleasure right that moment, because I found out it feels good, damn good, to be confident and to share that with my partner and my submissives. Now, in a future live, I'll go deeper into some specific things that I chose to develop my confidence further. But what I would like from you, everybody watching this live right now, the few of you that were able to get up and make this happen, and who knew about this particular series starting today. This is what I would consider a very soft launch. This week, I'm testing out new streaming software. I am testing out new patterns. I am, for those of you who do not know, I'm still in recovery. I'm in the middle of a reconstruction from a double mastectomy. So there's a lot going on right now. But what I would like from you who are watching this, whether you're watching it live, you're watching the replay, whether you're watching it in our Plus membership, whether you are watching it in our FLR, FemDom, and Women in Charge community, which can be accessed through the Plus membership. I would like your questions. I would like to know what you want to know about developing confidence as a dominant. And if you are not a dominant, I would like to know your questions as a submissive or as a switch or as somebody curious about confident dominance or about confident submission. Because as I go through these lives and do one of these FLR, FemDom, and Women in Charge lives, probably once every 2 weeks or so, I want to know what you want to know. So like I said, I'll plan another topic in a couple of weeks, couple of months, about more specific things that I chose to develop my confidence. But when it comes right down to it, like most everything, it's simple. It's just not easy. Thank you. Thank you for joining me today. If you loved this presentation, this discussion, please like and share it with others who you think might enjoy it. And don't forget to follow or subscribe wherever you're finding me so you don't miss out on upcoming Curiouser and Dating Kinky lives. You can find us and our Plus membership at getplus.datingkinky.com. That's fascinating. Confident, dominant. Oh, what right thing to do. Which one may necessarily not want to do, then like it and derive pleasure for it. Thank you, Miss Nookie. You are very welcome. And you know what? That is, I'm going to actually put this up. I'm going to show this on the stream here. That's fascinating. The right thing to do, which one may not necessarily want to do, but then you like doing it because it's the right thing. You derive pleasure from it because it's the right thing. And because doing the right thing grows you as a person, as a dominant, grows your confidence, grows your relationship, your love. Yes. Thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing you, all of you, at future lives. Thank you all.